All right, y'all, we had a crazy day in court. Y'all, we learned some things that could be devastating for Donna Adelson's case. I'm telling you, these are things that we haven't heard before. We have new text messages, we have new information, we have things that have not been in any of the other trials before. Today, we also heard the state say those magic words, the state rests. It was a crazy day. It is Friday, August 29th, and today is day 6 of Donna Adelson's murder trial. All right, so let's go through our witnesses. First up, we had the lead FBI investigator back on the stand, Agent Pat Sanford. Now, he finished up the direct this morning, kind of wrapping up all of the final details and the final timeline of everything that led to Donna's arrest. So here's the Cliff's Notes version of that. Sigfredo and Lewis were arrested in late May and early June of 2016. Katie was arrested 4 months later. So Lewis ends up taking a plea deal and cooperated with law enforcement. That resulted in him serving an additional 7 years on top of a 12-year sentence that he was already serving on unrelated federal charges. Now, Sigfredo and Katie were both convicted and are serving life sentences. About a year after Katie's conviction, she ended up turning state's witness and decided to also cooperate with law enforcement. Now, this was right before Charlie's trial began in 2023. And she was sentenced to life, and she's said before, she's like, I'm hoping that by cooperating, maybe it would end up that I could get my sentence reduced. Maybe I could see my kids again. But she's not been promised anything, and who knows if it'll happen. It's not very likely. Now, when she turned state witness and agreed to give information, this is like right before Charlie's trial, right? So Agent Sanford said that during Katie's proffer, she actually gave them information about the first time that Charlie had approached her to ask if she knew someone who could hurt someone. And she also gave them some important information about Charlie saying that his parents had actually dropped off the hit money, those damp dollars that were dropped off on the murder night. Now, Katie had lied in both of the previous trials about her involvement, right? So, of course, they're going to be like, well, are you telling the truth now? So they obviously need to corroborate everything that she says to make sure she's not lying again. Now, Agent Sanford explains that they were able to do this with text messages. There was one text that Charlie sent to somebody else saying that he was at that party that Katie had described, so that checked out. And then there was also a text that, of course, they ended up finding where Donna is texting Charlie saying she's outside of his place. And all of that stuff lined up with exactly what Katie was telling them. Those were actually crucial dots that needed to be connected when it comes to Charlie and Donna. So Katie helping out in those details actually led to Charlie's conviction. That was November 6th of 2023 that he was convicted. So the very next day, Charlie calls Donna from jail. And of course, we know that jail calls are all recorded, but somehow Charlie drops from the call and the recording continues. Y'all, this call is wild, and this call is the reason that Donna Adelson was arrested. There are a few things in there that I really want to highlight. First, after they lose Charlie on the line, you can hear Donna and Harvey talking. They actually have a couple of friends over. And Donna is talking about getting some stuff together in a short time, including some things that they need to take care of for Charlie's son and some other things. Donna then brings up a conversation with Wendy. Now, she says that after Charlie's verdict, she talked to Wendy, and I guess she made some comments that suggested that she was thinking of ending her own life. Now, instead of Wendy being concerned and trying to make her feel better, Donna said that Wendy was just like, well, I'll just Baker Act you. Their relationship, based on everything that Donna has to say, it's strained, y'all, to say the least. Now, she brings up Wendy again during this call, and she actually reads aloud a text conversation between the two of them. She says that Wendy wouldn't even talk to her, and her lawyer was like, you can't talk to them about the case. But Donna was frustrated. She's like, I'm not trying to talk to her about the case. This isn't about the case. And she also says that Wendy hasn't even asked about Charlie, who she's like, he was just convicted. And when she said something about that, Wendy blamed that on her attorney also, saying she was told she shouldn't ask. Donna's like, we found out that's not true. She's lying. Her attorney, according to Donna, told them that he never said that. So Donna actually reads those text messages, and she reads Wendy's response. She tells Donna in this text, your anger directed at me isn't justified. And she says she's not responsible for Charlie's situation. Wendy says she's not guilty because she didn't do anything wrong and she wasn't involved in any way with Dan's death. Now, Donna responds to this text and she reads that aloud as well. And she tells Wendy it wasn't about the case that she was trying to talk to her. She's like, I'm trying to talk to you about other things. And that includes codes to their safe because they're going to be gone, along with papers, wills, and information on their cemetery plots. The way she talks about this, you can tell that she's really frustrated in the way that Wendy is behaving with them, and everything sounds really strained. Okay, but after that comes some of the most damning parts of this. Take a look at this clip.
This morning and really what they're thinking up there. I don't know if we'll make it out in time, I really don't. But Dan said, you might, or you might do all of it, get to the airport, and that could happen. It could happen, I don't know, but it's worth a try.
Okay, y'all, this one is very telling. She said she spoke to Dan, as in Charlie's attorney, who had just wrapped up with Charlie's trial. And after talking to him and knowing what they're thinking up north, she needs to go. What they're thinking is that Donna was next. And she even mentions that she is told that they might stop her at the airport. She's like, it's worth a try. But she even says, they might stop us at the airport. It's wild, though, considering we know that that is exactly what happened. Also, Donna brought up the visas. And this part is another one of the strongest pieces of evidence against her in this call. Take a look.
So please let us know if you can be of any help. The other thing is the visa, which she would know about. But no, I said we need some business assistance. Please let us know. If not, we'll try to find someone who can help us. This needs an immediate reply so I can start asking other people to help. Help me with it. We've been looking it up over and over. If things change, if there is extradition from Vietnam. Because we've looked at all the places, I mean, I could go to Korea and China, but there's no extradition. But we're looking for places where there's no extradition. Who? Really? Maybe she knows that. Maybe she can look up the extradition issue before we go take their time. She can tell on me that my parents
Okay, so she specifically says that they were looking for places with no extradition. Y'all, these are her own words that the jury is listening to. This is her own voice that the jury is hearing, where she's saying that they were looking for places with no extradition. Imagine being a juror and hearing that. And I don't know what y'all think. I personally don't think that that's something that an innocent person would be expected to say. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in comments. Okay, so when Donna's friend asks if Wendy is going to tell on them for leaving the country, I think it's another example of, like I was saying earlier, just how strained their relationship has become. And Harvey responds and he's like, I wouldn't tell her. Like, he says, I wouldn't tell our daughter that we're leaving the country. That's crazy, right? And Donna gets frustrated, and what she says about Wendy here isn't great.
Every time she says, can you do this, can you come here, can you do this? Everything, how many times do we have plans that I know we can't cancel Wendy needs us for this, Wendy needs us to babysit. So we've been really good nannies, and I guess our job is up. Because now the boys are older, they can go out with friends.
Now, something interesting in that clip is, you know, she talks about how they would do everything for Wendy and they've done so much. And we've heard all of these texts this whole time about how they do everything for her and they're always trying to protect her and they're always doing all these things. It's just kind of crazy to now see her say, you know, like, we feel like, you know, I was just a nanny. Wild, right? Now, there are two things in all of this call that I think are really ironic. One is that without this call, Donna would probably be like living in Vietnam right now. And the only reason that she was even caught at the airport, like she thought she might be, is because she didn't hang up her phone. And also, she had to pay $5 for that call, and she was mad about it. And that call is kind of why she's sitting where she's at. That's wild, right? Now, the other really ironic thing here is that Donna spent more time meddling in her children's life in one day than I think most moms do in an entire year. And now, all three of those children, her relationships with them are really, really strained, if not non-existent, because of her own actions. Her oldest, Rob, doesn't speak to her at all. Charlie isn't legally allowed to speak to her because they're considered co-conspirators. And Wendy, as we've seen, barely has anything to do with her anymore. And based on what Donna said in those calls, they said that she doesn't even live far away, but she never even comes over there to see him. I don't know. I bet there's a lot of time for self-reflection for her in jail right now. So I can't help but wonder if the realization of all of that has actually hit her yet. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. So, okay, these calls are recorded, but there isn't like someone listening in real time, right? So it was a couple days before Agent Sanford actually heard this call. So he heard it and he's like, okay, well, I need to check and see if there's any travel plans for the Adelsons. So he inquired, tried to find it, whatever. Now, he got a call on Monday morning that they had booked one-way flights for that evening, as in Monday evening. Now, at the time, there's no warrant for Donna, but Agent Sanford talked to the state's attorney, and so he knew that the state's attorney was considering a warrant. So just in case, he said he drove from Tallahassee down to Miami. And sure enough, a warrant was issued around 3 o'clock that afternoon. Now, Donna was arrested at the airport just before boarding her plane. Georgia asked the agent about that arrest, and y'all, listen to what he had to say.
When you seized the defendant's cell phone, did she physically resist you?
Yes, she did.
Could you tell us about the physical resistance that she offered?
Yes, I reached out to the phone, and when I grabbed a hold of it, she pulled it away and said no, and then kept holding it away from me, trying to turn away from me. Another officer who was there arresting her actually grabbed her arm and held it, and then we were able to finally take the phone out of her hand, but she was still trying to keep it from us.
The last little nugget of information on Agent Sanford's direct was something that I hadn't heard before. Apparently, there was a planner from 2014, the year of Dan's murder, and Donna had Dan's tag number for his car written in the back, like, notes section of the planner. That's weird, right? It makes me wonder a few things because, first of all, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Why you got that? Maybe I'm weird. I don't think my mother-in-law has my tag number. So did she write it down on one of their trips up there? Or did Wendy give it to her? I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in comments. So cross-examination here. Defense attorney Jackie Fulford led the cross-examination of Sanford. And y'all, saying that it was hard to follow is putting it nicely. She spent some time focusing on the flight that Donna almost got on. And according to Fulford, Donna and Harvey had planned to come back to the States for a bar mitzvah, despite them booking one-way tickets. Now, the defense also kind of made a big deal about this visa being a tourism visa. But there's not like a box to check that says you're going there to flee the country to avoid prosecution. So I don't know. They were basically trying to convince everybody that the Adelsons were coming back. It's just a little vacation, just a little trip. Now, there were some other random things that she brought up, and honestly, I don't even understand the relevance of some of it. Like, she brought up a tattoo that Katie has that is also the garage code for Charlie's garage, and she pointed that out and pointed out that it was Wendy's friend who mentioned Jeff to the police as a suspect, not Wendy. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but There was one other thing that she kind of snuck in there before a hearsay objection. She said that there was no warrant for Donna at the time that she was leaving the country, which means she was free to travel. And of course, that's true. But she says that Donna's attorney had called the state's attorney and got permission for this travel. She said that, I guess the attorney claims that they were told that if a warrant comes up, she could turn herself in. Now, this was objected as hearsay, but also saying that she could turn herself in and her actually doing it, two very different things. Now, after lunch, the prosecution moved on to Detective Jonathan Grossman from Miami-Dade's Sheriff's Office, and we got to see some pictures of the Adelson home from when they carried out the search warrant. Now, this was after Donna and Harvey's attempt to go to Vietnam for the trip. We then moved on to some witnesses that I have been really interested to hear from. All right. First up, Patricia Bird. She is a jailhouse informant. Patricia was one of Donna's cellmates. They were like in the same pod. Now, the way they describe these pods is like one big room, and all of the inmates, all of the women are in there together. So they had been about 7 months in the same pod and spent a lot of time together and had kind of become friends. Now, according to Patricia, Donna told her that she was involved in Dan's case, but she said it just got way out of hand. That's pretty huge, right? This witness heard firsthand from Donna that she was in on it. Now, this is a jailhouse informant, so of course, the defense on that is going to try to diminish the credibility, right? They basically brought up some inconsistencies in different things where she got confused about the investigators and who investigated her and or which investigators talked to her and how many and how often. So they were trying to kind of find some inconsistencies there to make the jury question her. But then we heard from Donna's quote-unquote jail daughter, Drina Bernhardt. Like Patricia, Drina was also in Donna's pod and got to know her over about 4 months. Now, they actually got really close. They showed some like art and some letters that Donna had written her, and I don't know, I guess they became pretty friendly. So according to this witness, Donna like wrote up a script for Drina to basically memorize. This is a bunch of questions and answers, and it's basically kind of how things would be asked in a trial or in an interrogation or anything like that. So it's like they're going to ask you this and this is what you say, and a lot of it, y'all, is going with all the same stuff that Charlie said. So she's like sticking with Charlie's story. I mean, how did that work out for him? But whatever, that's what she's sticking with, and she has it and she wants her to memorize it. She wants her to testify and say that Katie lied. Now, Drina does know Katie from being locked up with her. So Donna wants her to say that when she saw her, these are the things that she said. Now, in exchange for doing this, Donna promised Drina $10,000 and a grand piano, on top of other things. Now, she said that Donna told her that Harvey would send the money through something called Zelle. Now, I know Drina has been in and out of jail and treatment centers for a while, so I guess she hasn't heard of it, but she also said that Harvey would be contacting her through something called Signal that she also hadn't heard of. So I guess she's not familiar with these things, but it was kind of funny because flashbacks to Karen Reed trial, right? Another big point that this witness brought up was that Donna mentioned multiple times that she was concerned about Rob, the oldest son, testifying against her and what he would say. Interesting, right? Now, apparently Donna mentioned that to her multiple times. On cross, the defense asked questions about Drina's current sentence and basically trying to show that Drina might be lying to get a lesser sentence. They went over a lot of her history with that. And Georgia was basically like, look, I'm not the one who is involved in your case, right? Like, you're not getting any kind of sentence from me. There's no offers on the table. There's none of that. And she said no. So I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. But also, how do we know that Donna actually wrote that infamous script? Well, the next witness was a forensic handwriting expert. Her name was Kate Butler. They took the handwriting that they know is Donna's, and then they took the script and cross-referenced them. It was pretty interesting. Take a look.
So beginning with the first word in the uppercase W of the word Y, we see the overall structure of the uppercase W has a very small tick at the bottom near the baseline where it appears that there's a little bit of an upstroke and then a very small tick and then a downstroke. That kind of makes the bottom of the W.
Okay, so what do y'all think? In my opinion, that's Donna's writing. What do y'all think? Now, at one point, the questions from defense seemed to kind of insinuate that they were going to say that Donna was writing the script. I mean, it's on video and they have an expert, but that Drina was telling her what to write. I'm not really sure how that makes sense, especially since the script is like a big question and answer script with full details of Charlie's defense of the extortion and this whole layaway murder thing. Now, if you missed Charlie's trial, basically, Charlie said that those hitmen went to Tallahassee and killed Dan and then came back and demanded money from him for it. And he didn't have enough cash, so that's why Donna brought him some. And then they were writing the checks to Katie that she would then cash and give to the hitmen. So it's like a layaway murder plan that Charlie didn't ask for and is now being extorted to pay for. So, how would this inmate have all of that information to tell Donna to write down? And why would she? What logical reason would she have to do that? I don't know. I guess we'll find out what they say about it next week. All right, last but not least, the state called back Sergeant Corbett. And y'all, he gave us some information that we have never heard before. First of all, Donna's WhatsApp chat with a Vietnamese visa service. Now, from these messages, which, remember, these are encrypted. The only reason that we even have them is because they got her phone. She tried for them not to have her phone. She tried to snatch it, but they got her phone. So that's the only reason we have this. But with this, it is clear that Donna is looking to get a visa ASAP. There were also Google searches related to non-extradition countries, which Vietnam is one of them. And we also got to see Donna's planner from the days before she and Harvey attempted to travel to Vietnam. Now, there was some interesting stuff in there, including like notes to cancel their Amazon packages and to sell some items that they have there in the house and to tell Charlie's attorney about Vietnam and for him to relay that information to Charlie from a private line. The conversations between the attorney and client are private. Those can't be recorded. So Donna's like, well, if we tell him, it'll be recorded and they'll hear it. But if we tell Dan to tell him, nobody will hear it. There were also some texts that we got from Donna's phone that we've never seen in the trials before. And y'all, this got crazy. Okay, so there's one where Donna is texting Wendy around the time where they're waiting on Charlie's verdict. And I guess Wendy texted like the prayer hands for him. And Donna's response was not what I would normally expect. She said, we shouldn't have to pray. He's telling the truth. Protected his little sister for years. Suffers through this. And now what? Prayer hands? Yikes. There are other texts around that time of Charlie's trial also, including Donna telling Wendy that this whole extortion thing that Charlie was claiming was true. She claims that Wendy's lawyer didn't want Wendy to know about it. But what's interesting, though, she says after that, let's see what the jury does to him and to the rest of us. Then she says, you know I'm next, but that won't happen. I'll take care of that. What? And okay, she was next, but I guess she didn't make it to the airport in time to take care of it. Famous last words. Okay, there was also a very interesting exchange right after the verdict of guilty was announced for Charlie. Wendy actually texted Donna and said, she's like, I love you very much, and, you know, you can call me if you feel like it. Here's Donna's response.
And how does Donna Adelson respond? Can you read that message?
Your brother protected you for years. Now you are not guilty. Your lawyer took very good care of you. You can bury me in the dress that I bought for Lincoln's bar mitzvah.
She said, now you're not guilty? What? Your lawyer took very good care of you? bury me in the dress I bought for the bar mitzvah. Doesn't that kind of show that they weren't planning to come back? Now, the final item on the agenda of the prosecution was to destroy Donna's extortion defense. And boy, did they ever. It appears that Donna was planning on sticking to that defense that Charlie attempted to use. And after it came out in his trial, there were a ton of texts where Donna is telling everybody when the truth came out, the truth is coming out. And she's so excited. She said the word truth about 100 times. She even said it to Wendy. But the problem is, Donna apparently didn't even know what extortion meant. Her Google history shows that she looked that word up right before Charlie's trial. And there's more than just that. The story is that Katie was the main one handling this extortion, right? But they showed a ton of text between Katie and Charlie where they're like, I love you and I miss you, and Charlie's telling her, you're the best. And they have all this kind of small talk and they just chat back and forth. That's not normal conversations for someone who's extorting you and you're fearful of, right? I mean, I've never been extorted, so I don't know for firsthand knowledge, but it's just not what I would expect. Then there were texts where Charlie told Donna in July of 2016 that his attorney went to talk to Sigfredo Garcia's attorney. Is that normal though? Again, I know, I feel like I keep asking y'all, is that normal? Does that seem normal? Does that seem normal? But it doesn't. If my brother-in-law were murdered and I heard that they caught the guy, I don't think that my first thought would be to send my attorney to go talk to his. Right? Then he says that his attorney ran into Katie while he was there at that meeting, and he was like, she was nice and beautiful. And Donna's like, so are all of your girlfriends. Okay. Weird, but okay. Now, is that the way that your attorney would speak about the person who's been extorting you for years, or the way that your mom would? I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. Okay, there are also texts where Charlie is telling Donna about a news article that says that the witness who came forward that helped Sigfredo and Garcia and Luis Rivera actually rent the hotel room, that he's like a convicted cocaine dealer. Now, this text is sent in August of 2016, right? So Charlie is talking to Donna about this, and he's like, you know, the star witness is a convicted cocaine dealer. So maybe, you know, the hitmen went up there for drugs, and, you know, maybe the coke dealer, you know, killed Danny because Danny stiffed him, and all of these ridiculous things. And like, he's trying to, like, you know, Danny, the well-respected Harvard law educated, you know, law professor, stiffed this drug dealer and got killed for it after dropping his kids off at daycare. I don't know. It's wild, right? But here's the thing. If you and your mom are being extorted, y'all aren't going to be texting each other about witnesses and trying to get different ideas or defenses or theories out there, right? If Charlie, like, let's say Donna didn't know that Donna's just going by what Charlie said. If Charlie had told Donna that he was being extorted, and then he was like, you know, well, maybe they'll say this, maybe they'll say this, wouldn't you think she would be like, what? You told me you were getting extorted. But that's not what she said. She said she had to stop reading everything. She just doesn't read newspaper articles anymore. But Charlie made sure to update her on some of the other articles, including one after Luis and Sigfredo were arrested. There was a quote that apparently said that it will probably be a speedy trial and that they don't think there are going to be any more arrests. Donna's response? That's good news. At the end of the day, the state made it through all of the witnesses that they intend to call. They presented all the evidence that they wanted the jury to see, and then they rested their case. I think it was pretty strong. You know, especially the last couple of days. I know the beginning was a little bit tedious, kind of going through everything and having to get the actual conspiracy stuff in there. But these last few days, I feel like have been really, really devastating for Donna. And I don't really know how the defense can try to defend this. So they have a 3-day weekend to try to figure it out. Because on Tuesday, it's the defense's turn. Court will start at 8:30. we will be there live. Crime Junkie Jury. Y'all, it has been every day gets a little crazier. So I am kind of on pins and needles. Normally I love a 3-day weekend, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait 3 more days to find out what they're going to say. So we'll see. Also, Donna has said that she intended to take the stand. So we might be hearing from Donna next week. So curious to see what she has to say. So 8:30 on Tuesday, y'all join me live right here on Crime Junkie Jury.